Here today, sponsoring our segment, is Aaron Alford. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely, thanks for having me.
So can you tell me a little bit about Carle's Health Medicine program?
Absolutely. So our athletic trainers function in both the high school setting, the college setting, both covering Danville Area Community College in Parkland, and then also we help out in the clinic as well doing sports injury therapy. My role is to do more of our cash-based options. So with that is working on performance enhancement with our youth athletes or various other options in terms of personal training if you see fit.
And if you're not an athlete but want some personal training or need physical therapy because you have an injury, is Carle still the place to come?
Absolutely. So what we do is we do individualized training with individuals, whether it be someone just looking to get more active now that the weather's improving, or if someone is just nursing a long injury and just doesn't know how to get back from there.
All right, well, speaking of getting active, I see that you've brought some workout equipment here for us. So if you want to follow along at home, you can do these exercises with us, but what are we doing today?
All right, so the big thing is just starting off low load and then working and improving there. So I have some resistance bands for us here to start with, just working on improving our posture.
Okay.
So we're going to take a nice long band here, take some of that slack out,
okay,
and we're going to work pull-aparts.
Okay.
So what we're going to do here is going to work to create tension. We're going to pull across, squeezing those shoulder blades out back. Sorry, long arms.
That's all good.
Controlling on the way back in.
Okay.
All right, so let's start with that. Just working through. You should feel those shoulder blades squeezing together.
I do, and I feel it sort of like in my core as well.
Yep, so we're trying to stabilize, making sure we're breathing. But big thing is just making sure we're opening up the shoulders here, and then controlling.
And if you don't have a band at home, you can still do the same movements.
Yeah, so you can do the same movements. You can work with just some squeezes of those shoulder blades, but the band adds a little bit more tension. These are very cheap that you can find at a local grocery store or online.
Okay, great.
All right, so moving on to some other functional movements. What we're going to do is we're going to step on the band.
Okay.
We're going to be shoulder width apart.
Great.
Holding about shoulder width, and what we're going to do is we're going to arch our back ever so slightly, trying to create this hinge pattern.
Okay.
And then standing back up.
Okay.
So this is good for individuals that are working on, if you have pets at home, working how to integrate the legs and not using just your back with lifting here.
Oh, I see.
So if we're talking more our athletes, this is a position where they're usually going to get ready to jump, but there are everyday activities as well that we use to just kind of work on just strengthening throughout that range of motion that we have.
I feel like this one is really important because ultimately I feel it again in my core, but I feel like when you go to lift something up, you don't necessarily always remember to bend your knees and lift with your stomach as opposed to your back.
Our back is stabilized, and we're just working those hamstrings and glutes to stand it from here.
Yeah, I feel like this would be really good for muscle memory.
All right, so now we're going to work our way to the ground.
Okay.
So, like we mentioned so far with core exercise, what we want to make sure that we're doing is that we're able to stabilize. So we're not thinking about a whole bunch of crunches. We're thinking about how can we stabilize our core with movement. So,
are you going to make me plank?
Not plank.
Okay, good.
All right, so what we're going to do is just work on a gentle hip extension. So we're going to straighten one leg out.
Okay.
We're going to lift up that leg.
Ooh.
Okay, you should feel that in the back of the thigh there.
Yeah.
And then bring that back down.
Oh, perfect.
All right, so as that eases up, now let's lift up the arm, opposite arm.
Oh, okay, so now it's getting tricky.
There we go. And then back down. Yep, you can alternate between sides or just work one side. So what we're working on there is that core stabilization, making sure we're staying tight.
Right.
Able to breathe and talk as we're doing now.
Now, you asked me before we started if I had any knee or wrist issues, things like that. So what if somebody wants to do that exercise that we were just doing, kind of down on all fours, but can't be on their knees or can't?
Absolutely. So there's pillows we can use for the knees.
Okay.
We have these lovely yoga mats. So what we can do is roll them up, and that would just take some of that tension off of the wrist from being too extended there,
And is it bad to go up like this?
Not bad at all.
Okay?
So that's another alternative through yoga. They teach to kind of go through the fist. But yeah, if you're having pain with that, you can either use a towel roll or go straight through the hands.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for being here and for sponsoring our segment and for teaching us all of these stretching exercises.
Correct. All right.
And if you want more information about Carle Health, you can visit us on the web at ciLiving.tv after the show.